at his first World Finals. Whoa, wow. Much needed.
Boy, yeah.
In the rodeo arena, there are falls. And then there are those crashes that freeze your blood. Brutal blows, scenes that rip out a scream of "oh my god," and that never fade from memory. Today we will relive 20 of those extreme moments in bull riding. Let's go. Number 20, Jess Lockwood.
On this bull, I've been 100% wrong. Today I'm gonna keep it up. I'm taking the bull.
Jess, a two-time world champion, is a name that normally inspires admiration. But on this occasion, he starred in a moment that nobody will ever forget. He was facing a bull of enormous power that unsettled him right from the start. Lockwood tried to hold on, but in a second the animal hurled him into the air like a rag doll. He landed on his back and the bull stomped on his side. The crowd fell silent as Jess could barely breathe. The arena filled with paramedics while he writhed. Although he survived and later returned to compete, that night proved that not even champions are safe from the "oh my god" moments this sport keeps up its sleeve. Number 19, Neil Holmes.
He's out, guys.
Neil was always a rider with grit, a tireless fighter, but facing a bull of nearly a ton pushed him to the limit. In this ride, it seemed like he was in control, holding on turn after turn, when suddenly the animal changed direction and jerked him forward. Neil was thrown off and his head slammed into the ground with brutal force. The impact echoed throughout the arena. For a few seconds, he was completely motionless, and the crowd feared the worst. The bullfighters rushed in to drive the bull away, and when Holmes finally moved his hand, the audience erupted in relieved applause. It was one of those moments that make you understand how fragile the line can be between competing and being scarred for life. Number 18, Ben Jones.
Whoa!
Ben Jones was known for his courage, but that day his name became linked with terror. At the gate release, the bull not only shook him, it catapulted him backward and then chased him mercilessly. Ben tried to shield himself with his arms, but the bull rammed him directly in the chest. The air left his lungs in an instant. The bullfighters ran, risking their lives to distract the animal, while Ben lay in the dirt. The crowd saw how the Australian writhed in pain, clutching his torso. The medics carried him out on a stretcher, and although he later returned to competition, that moment was etched as one of the most violent of his career. Number 17, Mike White. Mike White, a veteran with years of experience, thought he had seen it all, but this ride proved otherwise. The bull threw him hard, straight against the metal gate. His body bounced like a doll and he was left disoriented. When he tried to get up, the bull came back and stomped on his shoulder. The crunch was so loud it could even be heard from the stands. The audience screamed in horror. The medics rushed in and Mike, with a twisted face, was taken for examination. That day, it became clear that in the PBR experience does not always protect you. A second of bad luck is enough to turn the arena into a war zone. Number 16, Claudio Crisostomo. Brazilian Claudio Crisostomo was always a fierce rider, but that day fate had prepared him for a full-on "oh my god" moment. As soon as the gate opened, the bull burst out with a devilish spin that sent him headfirst into the ground. The fall was so hard that the audience shuddered. But the worst came after. The animal stomped on his hip, leaving him paralyzed for a few seconds. Paramedics surrounded him while Claudio tried to move his legs. Fans prayed silently. He finally managed to get on his knees, but with such evident pain that he could not continue. It was a brutal reminder of how fragile a rider can be under the weight of a bull. Number 15, Marcus Marilush.
Because of the crazy amount of pressure at his first World Finals. Whoa, wow!
Mariluch faced one of the most horrific moments of his career when an unpredictable bull violently threw him to the ground. His leg got trapped between the rope and the animal's back, dragging him all over the arena. Every second felt eternal, with Marcus slamming against the dirt like a rag doll, unable to break free. The bullfighters struggled to cut the rope while the bull dragged him in circles. The crowd, hearts in their throats, watched as he looked like a limp body being mercilessly shaken. They finally managed to release him, but Marcus was left lying there, bleeding and with several broken ribs. That image of a man being dragged like a corpse became one of the most shocking moments of the entire season. Number 14, Cody Nance. The name Cody Nance was always tied to risk, but this time surpassed any expectation of danger. In the middle of the ride, the bull spun so violently that it tossed him over its horns. Cody flew through the air and landed headfirst. The helmet absorbed part of the blow, but the rest was taken by his neck. The crowd gasped as they saw the rider remain motionless for a few seconds. When he finally moved, it was clear he was dazed, staggering as if he didn't know where he was. Paramedics assisted him while the crowd applauded, grateful that he was still alive. It was a moment that made clear why this sport can change everything in the blink of an eye. Number 13, J.W. Harris. Harris, a four-time world champion, is known for his strength and composure, but even giants fall. On this occasion, the bull came out like a whirlwind. JW endured the first spins, but on the third move, he was launched into the air. He landed badly, twisting his arm in a way that made the whole crowd scream in horror. The arm dangled unnaturally, and Harris, with a distorted face, tried to get up. The medics ran in, immobilized the limb, and carried him out of the arena. It was a cruel reminder that not even the greatest are spared from the moments that make you say, "Oh my God." Number 12, Ross Coleman. Ross Coleman was one of the most respected cowboys in the PBR.
Ross Coleman,
His style was aggressive, always willing to give it all, but that also put him in situations where the line between glory and disaster was razor thin. In this case, he faced a bull known for its brute strength. From the start, Ross seemed in control, setting the rhythm of the ride, until the animal made an unexpected spin that shook him brutally. Ross flew several meters and landed with his head slamming into the ground. The helmet split on one side and the arena went silent. The crowd feared the worst when they saw him unconscious for a few seconds. The bullfighters formed a human wall to keep the bull away while the paramedics rushed in. The tension was unbearable. When Ross finally raised an arm, the crowd roared with relief, but the image of the broken helmet was enough for everyone to understand how close he had come to an irreversible tragedy. Number 11, Ty Pozzobon. Canadian Ty Pozzobon was a naturally gifted rider, one of those who seemed made for bull riding, but he also starred in one of the most painful moments to watch. In the middle of the ride, the bull threw him forward, straight into the horns. The impact on the helmet was so strong that Ty fell unconscious immediately. The crowd froze, watching the rider's body collapse like a lifeless doll. The bullfighters did everything possible to distract the animal, while the medical team tended to the Canadian. They carried him out on a stretcher, with the audience in total silence, praying for his recovery. Ty survived and continued competing for a while, but that moment showed how cruel this sport can be. Years later, his tragic story would end in an even more painful way, and many remember that blow as one of the breaking points that marked his life. Number 10, Cody Lostro.
Got him handled!
World champion Cody Lostro was considered one of the most consistent, but even he lived through an episode that made everyone scream, "Oh my God." In the middle of the ride, it seemed like he was about to complete the 8 seconds, when the bull, in a last effort, threw a sharp spin that knocked him off balance. Cody flew off and landed right under the animal. It stomped with full force on his abdomen. The crowd saw how Cody's body bent in an unnatural way. Paramedics rushed in, and while they examined him, the camera showed the pain on his face, a suffering almost indescribable. Although he eventually recovered, the image of a world champion writhing in pain in the arena was forever etched as one of the darkest moments in the PBR. Number 9, Justin McBride. Justin McBride is a legendary name within the PBR, one of the most successful riders of all time, but even legends live their own hell in the arena. On this occasion, McBride came out determined to dominate, and at first it looked like he was heading for another of his iconic rides. The bull, however, had other plans. With a sudden move, it threw him to the side and Justin landed badly, smashing his shoulder against the ground. The impact was so hard that the joint dislocated instantly. Justin tried to get up, but his arm dangled strangely. The crowd shuddered seeing him try to stay on his feet while the medics rushed to him. It was one of those moments when the vulnerability of a legend was laid bare, reminding everyone that no title or record protects a rider from the relentless danger of a bull. Number 8, Aaron Roy. Aaron Roy is synonymous with courage. His life story and perseverance have inspired thousands, but his path was marked by an unforgettable "oh my God" moment. During a competition, Aaron was thrown with such violence that his back hit the ground at an impossible angle. The crowd was in shock as they saw he could not move. Paramedics rushed in immediately and confirmed a serious spinal injury. The silence in the arena was sepulchral. Aaron was carried out on a stretcher and taken to the hospital, where it was later revealed that he had suffered a fracture that left him temporarily paralyzed. The incredible thing was that, over time and through titanic rehabilitation, he managed to return to competition, becoming a symbol of resilience. But that first image of a man lying motionless in the arena remains one of the hardest moments the PBR has ever shown the world. Number 7. Colby Yates. Colby Yates was always a fierce rider, known for never backing down. But this time, luck was not on his side. As soon as the gate opened, the bull came out with an explosive jump that threw him off balance. Colby tried to recover his position, but ended up being launched over the horns. The crowd watched as he fell head first, the impact sharp and terrifying. The helmet absorbed part of the blow, but Colby was left stunned, staggering as if walking in another reality. The bullfighter surrounded him while the animal kept trying to charge. The audience, torn between screams and horrified gestures, didn't know whether to applaud his bravery or pray for his safety. He was finally taken to the hospital for neurological evaluation. Although he later returned to competition, that moment became one of those scenes no one ever wanted to witness again. Number 6. Cage Gay.
Justin McBride.
Cage Gay starred in one of the most shocking moments of his entire career, an instant that literally left everyone with their mouths open. In the middle of the ride, he seemed to have everything under control, resisting the bull's violent spins. But with a sudden move, he was thrown forward and landed right in front of the animal. The bull struck him with its horns, lifting him into the air. Cage's body bent grotesquely before crashing back down like a sack. The bullfighters ran desperately to save him while the crowd screamed in panic. Cage lay motionless and the tension was unbearable. When he finally moved an arm, the audience erupted in relieved applause, though it was clear he had suffered severe damage. He was rushed to the hospital, where multiple fractures and internal injuries were confirmed. It was one of those moments that starkly showed how fragile life can be in this sport, and why so many spectators define it as a mix between spectacle and tragedy. Number 5. Matt Triplett.
He had a couple great corrections there.
Matt Triplett is one of those riders who always carried the label of brave, a man who would not back down even if the bull seemed like a runaway train. His oh my god moment came during a championship full of tension when he faced a bull known for throwing almost everyone who rode it. From the start, Matt seemed in sync with the animal, adjusting his body with each spin, clinging with fierce determination. The crowd was convinced he was about to complete the 8 seconds. But with just an instant left, the bull made an unexpected turn that knocked him off balance. Matt was catapulted into the air, and the landing was brutal. He crashed down on a shoulder, and his collarbone broke immediately. What made it unforgettable was not just the fall, but the fact that the bull then stomped on his abdomen in the same sequence. The collective scream of the spectators filled the arena. Matt was quickly attended to and taken to the hospital. That image of a promising rider struck down twice in a matter of seconds became a symbol of how ruthless this sport can be. Number 4. Rubens Barbosa.
Bosa in trouble, and he's gonna get, wow.
Rubens Barbosa from Brazil was a rider respected for his physical strength and aggressive style. On this occasion, his name was marked in history with a horrifying moment. As soon as the gate opened, the bull came out like a bullet, and Barbosa held on like a warrior. For a few seconds, it looked like he was taming the beast, until the animal lunged forward violently. Barbosa was thrown off, and when he fell, his foot got tangled in the rope. The crowd screamed in terror. The Brazilian was being dragged around the arena while the bull kept charging furiously. The bullfighters did everything possible to cut the rope, while every second felt eternal. They finally managed to free him, but Barbosa's body had been slammed against the ground repeatedly. He was carried out on a stretcher, visibly in pain with multiple injuries. That moment remains one of the most dangerous in fans' memory, a clear example of how in bull riding a simple mistake can turn into a deadly drag. Number 3. John Crimber. John Crimber, young but already considered a rising star in the sport, lived his own nightmare on a day when he was expected to shine. With just seconds into the ride, the bull spun suddenly, throwing him off balance. John fell forward, and instead of rolling away, he ended up trapped in front of the animal. The bull hit him with brutal force, tossing him into the air like a rag doll. The impact was so violent that the entire crowd screamed in unison, unable to believe what they were seeing. John crashed down hard on his back and lay motionless for what felt like an eternity. The bullfighters risked everything to distract the animal while medics rushed to him. Though he eventually recovered, the image of a young talent being smashed in mere seconds remained as a reminder of how merciless bull riding can be, even for the most promising. Number 2. Bonner Bolton. Bonner Bolton's case is remembered not only for the impact, but also for what it represented afterward. During an event, Bolton came out determined, eyes fixed, ready to complete one of those rides that would go down in history. But within seconds, the bull launched a massive jump and catapulted him into the air. Bonner landed head first at a terrible angle. The crowd went silent as they saw him lying motionless, neck twisted. The tension was unbearable. Medics rushed in and confirmed the worst. He had fractured a cervical vertebra. That moment was more than a scare. It was a turning point in his life. Although he survived, he never competed the same way again. Later, he reinvented himself as a model and public personality, but the fall that left him on the edge of paralysis remains one of the most shocking oh my god moments in PBR history. Number 1. J.B. Mauney. J.B. Mauney is probably the most legendary name in modern bull riding. Brave to the extreme, with a wild style that made him an idol of the crowds. Yet even he starred in one of those moments that shook everyone present. In the middle of a ride, he seemed to have everything under control. When the bull unleashed a series of brutal spins, JB clung on with the strength of a warrior, but the animal managed to unseat him and sent him crashing straight to the ground. The impact was devastating. His shoulder dislocated immediately, and his face twisted in pain. To make things worse, the bull stomped on his ribs before being contained by the bullfighters. JB tried to get up, but couldn't. The crowd watched him with both tears and applause, aware they were witnessing how even the greatest could be brought down. That image of Mauney lying still and writhing in pain is one of the rawest moments in all of PBR history. These 20 moments are not just simple falls or hits. They are scenes that made thousands of people scream, "Oh my God," in unison. Moments where human fragility was laid bare against the indomitable fury of a bull. From Jess Lockwood and Neil Holmes to the legend J.B. Mauney, each case shows a different side of risk. Head blows that shattered helmets, terrifying draggings, fractures that shaped careers, and even injuries that changed lives forever. Bull riding is not just a sport, it is a pact with danger. Every time a rider climbs onto the beast, he knows it could end in glory or in the hospital. These 20 instants are reminders of how fleeting the distance between life and death can be inside the arena. In the end, what unites all these men is not just the injuries or the pain, but their courage. Returning to the arena after a fracture, facing the bull after a brutal hit, or reinventing oneself after a career-ending injury. That is what ensures each of these names is etched into history. So, when someone says bull riding is just entertainment, it's enough to remember these 20 moments to understand that behind every ride, there is sweat, blood, and the determination of men willing to risk it all for 8 seconds of glory.